BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Welcome to BRB UK episode 630. I am Coleman. Hi! With me this week, it's Tim.
Hello. How the
We
devil
have
are
no
you?
Dan.
No
I'm
Dan.
all right. We have no Dan this week,
No
but
Dan.
we're going to muscle on with just the two of us. We can make it if we try. And you can make it if you try. To go to bigredbarrel.com, the website for this here podcast. We've got other podcasts. We've got news and reviews and videos and all kinds of things, and links to our social medias. Go in there, give it a clicky click. Go check out Tabletop Tuesday. Do all those things. Tim,
Yes,
it's been a week.
it has.
It's been
Two
another
for me.
week where another big game has come out this week. We're now in that point now. Big games. We're all gearing
Big
up for
game.
April. All the bigs are coming. All big games start coming out next week as well. All the Game Pass stuff starts coming out. I'm very much looking forward to April. I'm going to start us off with some
Yep.
Assassin's Creed Shadows
Oh,
because
sneaking in the financial year.
depending on what side of the internet you look at, you may think either this is a absolute masterpiece, a savior of Ubisoft, keeping Tencent at bay, or you might think it's the worst thing to happen in video games and it's woke nonsense and broken AI and all this kind of thing. So let's get into it, shall we? Because I've been playing Assassin's Creed Shadow. I've been playing it, Shadows. It's two of them. Been playing it for a week now. And I don't know about you, Tim. I used to be really big into Assassin's Creed.
Yes,
Kind of fell off recently. Not recently, like since...
kind of swan dived, if you would.
Yeah. Fell off into a bale of hay backwards without my hood up. Or my hood on backwards. Who knows? Not the most graceful of landings. But
Having your head on backwards is not a good idea. That's not good for stealth, unless you've cut little eye holes.
I think... I don't know where you fell off, but my kind of attention started to waver around about Unity. And I think that's because that was the year they went, if you're on the current generation of consoles, then you want to buy Unity. If you're on the old generation of consoles, you want to buy Rogue. And we're trying to sell you two games at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And then when Unity came out and it was all buggy and broken, and I've kind of struggled to get back since then.
I can't remember if I did or didn't pick up Unity in the end. I think the bugs put me off, but I think I was kind of tiring of the format even before that, and they haven't done too much to tempt me back in. I did play a bit of Odyssey when that seemed to revise the series a bit, and I did really like that. But Valhalla turned me off again. Even though it was in England, I would have thought that would enough to pull me back, but I just haven't felt a strong urge to revisit the series, basically. And if they're not going to do it with this, I don't see what they can do to pull me back in. So do you think that this new formula is worthy of my attention?
I do think it's worthy of your attention, especially if
Okay.
you're a fan of the older Assassin's Creed games. And just for reference as well, because I did mention it a couple of weeks back, I was talking about how they've patched Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which is the one that came after Unity, and they went, let's just strip back on some of these newer mechanics and make it like it was and set it in London. And these are things people have wanted.
Oh, I did
for
play
a while.
Syndicate as well, actually, but yeah.
Yeah, and I really liked it, but I never stuck with it. And I can't remember. I think just other games came about, and I've struggled to get back into it. And they've given it a 60 frames per second patch on PS5.
Right.
And then I went, I'm going to buy that on PS5, not realizing I own it on Steam. So I've been playing it on my Steam Deck while I'm playing Shadows on the PS5. So when I leave the house, I'm on Syndicate. When I'm at home, I'm playing Shadows.
Oh, I thought you meant playing both at once. That was some talented
No,
multitasking.
That's
Or
insane.
multi-assassinationing.
Yeah, but they are quite similar, and I'll get into that now because I think I own Origins and Odyssey, and I know I own Valhalla, and I just couldn't get into them. I think it's just because they were so big and more like RPG rather than action adventure, how they felt before. And also, we've gotten away from Assassin's Creed. To me, is like you've got a big city, a big detailed city, lots of buildings, lots of parkour, jumping
Lots of
off roofs and
crowds.
stabbing people,
Was always
lots
their
of
selling point.
crowds. Now we got these big, vast open areas, and it's like, and now you climb the odd tree and go to a small village, and it's not quite the same. And that's something I'm hoping they change with Hexe, which is the next one that's coming after this. But let's get to Shadows, because I am really, really enjoying this. So this is the latest Assassin's Creed game. It was one that was heavily pushed back. This was meant to come out last year. Even so much so that when I went to the wrestling last year, AEW, there's a wrestler called Will Ospreay, who's known as the Aerial Assassin. Right. And you might see him popping up in adverts for Assassin's Creed Shadow now, but they sponsored him to come out to the ring in Assassin's Creed gear and have Assassin's Creed Shadow stuff all around him and put on the Titantron and things. This was last summer, when the game was meant to be shortly coming out, and it's only just come out now.
I did see them sponsoring UFC more recently, so they've obviously been trying to associate with fighting.
Yeah, they did that video where they took a copy, like in first-person view on a plane and over to London to a UFC event. It was very odd. But, yeah, I'm really enjoying this one. Unfortunately, like I said, with where I think we've kind of gotten away from the series is taking it out of the big cities and having it in big, vast open landscapes. And that's kind of what this game is, but it's still very enjoyable. Now, you may have known it as well as the delays. There's the whole thing of Ubisoft kind of been going down the toilet lately in terms of sales and critical acclaim and all these kind of things. And they've been kind of hoping on a win for this one, and it's apparently been doing quite well. With the pushing back to kind of polish it, make sure it's not incredibly buggy at launch, like some of the other games have been, and just absolutely polishing the heck out of it. And I think that's really helped. So what you have is setting in feudal Japan for the first time in the series, which is something that I think like ever since 2, people have been asking for feudal Japan, and they've finally done it. Fine, all right, buy our game. We put it in feudal Japan. And the other reason you might have been seeing about this is the protagonist. You've got Nawe, who is a female shinobi and the kind of assassin part of the duo of protagonists here. And then you've got Yasuke, who is based off a black samurai that existed in Japan. Yeah. And he's been kind of the point of controversy within this game, along with some other things. But this seems to be the one that the grifters kind of point towards.
If you believe the darker corners of the internet, neither of these things existed in Japan historically. Like a black samurai or a female shinobi. Like apparently that neither of those were things, even though they kind of were.
So absolutely woke.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of controversy started there, and then I feel it's a lot of those kind of grifters online doing the rage baiting and stuff that are the ones now going, oh my god, the AI is so broken, and I'm watching it after playing this game myself, going, you've turned the difficulty all the way down. I can see, because if I try doing what you're doing, it doesn't work. I too can play around with accessibility settings and see what happens. So yeah, it's been a funny one at the moment. So depending on what corner of the internet you're looking at the moment, you might think this is the worst game ever, or you might think it's absolutely great.
I have a question, Mr. Coleman.
Yes,
stick in here if that's okay. Like, idiots aside, from more like respectable corners of the internet that have been commenting on it, from what I've seen, Skill Up being one, but him being one among others, it does seem that the dual protagonist thing does come with its problems. Like it seems that the Shinobi way is quite cool. The Yasuke way, maybe that combat isn't, or just generally the gameplay with him isn't quite as Assassin's Creedy as we've come to used to, and isn't quite as good, basically.
Yeah, so Yasuke he's a big dude. He's a samurai. He can barge through doors and crates and other obstacles in the way. He's your kind of powerhouse hack and slashy type, although more. Do you know what? I kind of liken him to what was that game you loved? Japanese game, PlayStation. Ghost of Tsushima. Yes. I kind of liken it to that, where he does a lot of, outside of the power moves, it's a lot of kind of parrying and using your sword in the correct kind of way, and kicks to combat and things, and that's pretty cool. But then, if you're looking for the more traditional type of Assassin's Creed game where you're doing the parkour and the stabs from rooftops and things, and you're going to want to play as Nawe. And I've seen the same thing as you, because I've been umming and ahhing over whether I'm getting this or not on the build-up. I think it was Luke Stevens' coverage that made me kind of go, I'm really interested in this and seeing how it plays out. So I ended up going in for it myself. And it's weird in the sense of, so when you start this game, Yasuke is like the character. They do the intro and it's Yasuke's story. And then you do a very small tutorial and then it goes to Nawe. And then it's Nawe for a very long time. You have like all the intro is Nawe, all the tutorials for Nawe, and then you're playing Nawe in the open world. And it's quite some time before you actually meet up with Yasuke and then you switch over to the other character. And at that point, I kind of feel like the different balance of the two characters is kind of welcomed, because then you've got the you want to,
it mixes up the
you've got that way.
Basically.
Yeah. And this is why I come up with the Syndicate. It feels like it's pushed back a lot from the RPG mechanics of the previous games that have come out, the last 3 games that have come out. And it has gone more kind of to its roots. And this is where the comparisons to Syndicate come in, because you have the 2 different protagonists. And you have like the ability to hook shot up walls to travel thing faster. But where it changes is, whereas the Fry twins in Syndicate were basically the same character, but one is female, one is male.
Yeah.
And any upgrades you do, they kind of are shared between them. Any items you get are shared between them. This time it is 2 different characters and 2 very different styles. And they have kind of done well to go, okay, if you don't like playing as this character, play as this character for the majority of the game. We're not really going, okay, now we force you to do several missions. There's going to be optional side things to go, okay, one character can do this, one character can do this. But I think it's to its benefit.
I wonder how much that led to the delay in development, in terms of they underestimated the difficulty in sort of programming for the 2 different characters and having to implement that throughout the game.
Maybe. If rumors are to be believed, though, part of this might be because there's meant to be a co-op mode, which wasn't finished in time, so it's getting patched in later. Okay. Which, if they do that
could be cool.
As long as they don't do a Capcom and go, we'll sell you the co-op, I'd be interested to play this with another person in co-op. That sounds like a lot of fun. And they've definitely had the practice with the later Watch Dogs expansions and things. Okay. That sounds like a really cool thing.
Are you going to say you're going to play that with me and then just play it with Rick? Is that how it's going to go again?
I don't think Rick will get into this one. Well, I don't know. I don't know if you'll play it, because I need my copy of the game to play this.
Right, okay. That might be problematic.
The other big thing, so one of the things that is a kind of carryover and expanded upon, which I've not really touched upon too much, and that's so in Valhalla, you had a home base, not the store, where you would create buildings and crops, and it's your own little, it's like the Fallout thing. You've got your own little settlement and you keep expanding it. Here they do the same thing. It's a lot more built out, but I'm not doing it at the moment because when you're playing this game in 60, for some reason, the home base just switches to 30 frames per second, and it's locked at that no matter what you do. And initially, I heard from reviewers at the start, before this game came out, saying, hey, when you're at the home base, it's at 30, but that's like a mechanic reason they had to do that. And then very recently they've gone, oh no, that's actually a bug. We're patching it out in the next update. So once that's done, I'll give that a bit more of a go, because I do like having the little customization stuff and growing your own little homeland, and that sounds fun. But yes, I'm really, really enjoying this. And I don't know if I can... See, the thing is, that was the other thing. In previews, they were kind of alluding to that they're going to steer away from the modern day Abstergo stuff and stick to the... Yeah, just although I think it's just Animus now, rather than Abstergo, and just focus on the time period it's set.
Yeah.
However, when you start, they do a little fake trailer thing for the Animus system, and it gets hacked by the assassins and tells you to wake up and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if there's much more than that in the game than in the intro, but it is there.
I mean, is it an Assassin's Creed game without the Animus? That's the question.
I like the Animus stuff. I like the modern.
I kind of like
modern day
it's always
apologist.
been a factor. Yeah.
I was
Doesn't
really
need
looking forward to
much.
when we got. I can't remember which one it was. Was it Revelations or 3 or something like that? And they started pulling out into the real world more often. And you went to Brazil, I think it was. And you're
Okay.
climbing above the football stadium. I was like, this is really cool. I can't wait till we get the modern day game. And then all the reviewers are going, no, we don't want a modern day game. That's going to be awful. But that's what we're building to, I thought.
And then they just gave us
weren't,
Watch Dogs
apparently.
instead. So, hey.
Fair point.
Yeah, I've got two kind of comments and thoughts about the game in general. One, like, for me, Assassin's Creed, I used to love. I loved it from the first one. I loved Brotherhood, and I had a deep affinity for the series. As you say, I've fallen off it a bit. Your thoughts on it does sort of tempt me back in a little. But I've thought for a while now that Ubisoft have kind of built a name and reputation in studio around building open world games, and don't build the best open world games. And I don't know how they've painted themselves into that weird corner.
Yeah.
Outlaws aside, which I really like Star Wars Outlaws, like they haven't made any of my top 10 favorite open world games anymore. Like, I used to think I got bored of open world games until I realized I got bored of the Ubisoft approach to open world games. Do you think that's something they've managed to break out of a little here? Is that how, the two different characters, does that help? Or how is it differently structured to a standard Ubisoft open world, vomiting things all over the map and then, having that problem that they've had previously?
So this is something they've been working on for a while now. The maps are not just because Unity was the worst example of this. When you start that game, you get your map, you open the map, and you can't see the map because there's just icons everywhere, just dotted everywhere, and you have to turn them all off before you can actually see anything in Paris. And to be fair, they've been sort of trying to figure that out for a while, how not to just like go, here's everything in one hit. And it's very streamlined. It's a nice, clean map. It looks very nice. And when you go out into the world, the other problem is when you have a big open world, what was the Skyrim thing they used to say? Oh, it was, look at that mountain in the background. You can go to it.
You can go there.
And then shortly on followed from that is, but what do you do when you get there? What do you do along the way? It's about the adventure and the journey. And this has a lot of that. And I think they've pulled from previous games. Again, Ghost of Tsushima, I think they've learned a lot from there.
Yes.
And playing an older Assassin's Creed game and the latest Assassin's Creed game at the same time kind of shows me the faults that I was kind of looking past previously. Yeah. When I'm running around Victorian London, I can see bad guys and I could just go, all right, I'm just going to stab that guy. Why? Why am I doing that? I'm just doing it because I'm bored along the run and I decided to stab a guy. This one, there's a lot more. Okay, I see some bandits off in the distance. Let's have a quick scan. Oh, they've got like they've got a villager that they've kept captive, or there's something that they're up to. They might have some loot that they got. And there's a reason to go over there and cause a fight with them, and stealth your way in, or hack and slash your way in, and play your way through. And then there's some kind of reward you're getting for doing that. There's a story-based reason for doing that, and I really enjoy that stuff. And I feel that's something they've learned from other games.
But that's
and it was something we saw in Outlaws as well. I know, it feels like they're building on stuff.
But my other barrier to entry is, for years I've been clamoring for this setting in the Assassin's Creed universe. But this now comes in a post Ghost of Tsushima world, which we've mentioned a couple of times. But I also played and really liked Rise of the Ronin. And I don't know why I wouldn't go back to either of them when there's, like, I finished Ghost of Tsushima, but there's other stuff I could play, like the co-op mode and other bits and bobs. I think there's a horde mode thing there as well that I never went back to. And I could finish Rise of the Ronin because I was really enjoying that. Why would I not do either of those and pay another like 70 quid for an Assassin's Creed game that I'm not sure I like as much as either of those games? That's or just wait for Ghost of Yotai. Like, I don't see what this game is offering me above those at the moment, basically.
Yeah, or wait for it to come to a Game Pass or something.
Yes, or something like that.
Yeah. It's just purely going to be down to your tastes. Because I know you love Ghost of Tsushima, and I kind of fell off of it. I know you love Rise of Ronin, was it?
Rise of the Ronin, yeah.
Rise of the Ronin. And I've seen that game absolutely panned in more so recently because of technical issues on the PC, but previously I've seen a lot of people pan that game. I fell off Ghost of Tsushima, but I really, really like this one, and it got its hooks in me pretty quickly. So I think it's just going to be down to taste. Do you want more Assassin's Creed? Have you been looking to get back into Assassin's Creed? Have you felt let down by the changes in Assassin's Creed? You know, do you want a gorgeous open world game on your PS5 that plays really well and looks really great?
Do you want to support terrible workplace conditions? Anyway,
no. To be fair, they won't be terrible for long when they start laying off everyone.
Oh yeah, they're going to fire everyone. They're going to jettison themselves into another company by the sounds of things.
Yeah. Cheers for getting us a good game out the door. Off you go. You follow it.
I will also comment that if they are doing the co-op thing that you talked about before, they could really learn a lesson from Split Fiction and make it so that you only need one copy of the game. You can pull someone else in. Because, for instance, just,
that will never happen.
This case, I know it's Ubisoft and they love sacks of cash, but what they could do there is they could attract me to play the game with you because I want to play it co-op, and then go, actually, I really like this game. I'll buy myself a copy. And I think they could do with buying themselves some goodwill, but it would also make financial sense. I think it would actually it would make them more money than trying to make it so that the co-op requires 2 copies of the game, possibly.
You say about Ubisoft liking sacks of cash, but they always shoot themselves in the foot with their game sales. I've been learning a lot about Ubisoft recently.
It's more of a stab themselves in the foot.
Yeah, I've been learning a lot about them recently. They have a horrible habit of going, okay, our game's been out for 2 weeks, let's reduce it by 30% on Steam or something like that.
It's a problem with Hidden Blades. If you're tying your shoelaces and you just accidentally stab yourself in the foot.
Apparently it's a very American problem they have, because all the other studios around the world go, why are they doing this? They're devaluing our games that we work so hard on. So that's been funny. But no, I recommend it. If you're an Assassin's Creed fan, either lapsed or still going on, then you're going to want to keep playing this. You want to keep trying this. Sorry, you want to get into this. You want to keep on with that. If you're new to it, I don't know if I can recommend it just because I don't know if you need to really be playing stuff before it. I haven't beat the game, so I don't know if it's suddenly going to go, right, we're back in the modern day and here's a big thing you should know about.
Yeah.
But from so far, I feel like this could be your first Assassin's Creed because I don't see too much reason for it not to be. I don't know.
Baby's first Assassin's Creed.
Well, I've seen a lot of people say, no, this is a game for the long-time fans. You don't want to jump into this if you're not a fan of Assassin's Creed. If this is your first Assassin's Creed, it's like, well, I don't see anything so far that's told me don't,
Yeah.
They don't reference older stuff, maybe like in Assassin's Creed canon in the
I mean, they're literally referencing older stuff for the whole game. That's kind of its thing, Coleman. Like,
I mean, you know how like you play Assassin's Creed 3 and they're talking about Kenway, and then you get to Black Flag, and then you meet the Templar son and all that.
Assassins to the left of me, Templars to the right, eh?
Assassin's Creed Shadows. I give that a recommend. And I'm playing on PlayStation 5, by the way.
Oh, okay.
I wondered.
Yeah. And it's performed okay, generally, technically, all good?
Other than the home-based thing that they're patching out, and again, that's down to your... I know you've got no problem with 30 frames. Yeah. I have a problem with 30 frames, so I went through the short tutorial bit of that area, and... there was another... there was another rage bait thing I saw today as well. There's these levels where when you're playing as Nawe, you can do like a meditation at specific points on the map, and when you do, it takes you into her backstory, which you play through. Great little levels, but they require a quick time event kind of thing where you hit button prompts in time with a tune, then that will take you into the level. I saw someone put a video of that up going, oh, this is where we are in modern day gaming. Oh, Ubisoft. And it's like, you can literally turn that off. You can just say, hey, play the quick time event yourself, buddy. It's fine. You don't need to do that. I'm seeing a lot of rage bait around this game, and I don't quite know why. Is it just Black Samurai? Is that it?
Oh no, they've hit the 2 10 poles of racial and misogynistic online hatred. So there's
there's
next? One black and there's one woman, and then that just sends people into a rage on the internet, unfortunately. So
Can't we just leave the politics outside of the games and all go back to complaining about a film made for young girls
No,
that I didn't watch with a young girl?
I can't believe people are complaining about Assassin's Creed being woke. It's like, have you played any of the games? Like, it's been woke since day one. It was literally set in the Middle East. They had that whole warning at the beginning that was basically a trigger warning.
Warning, we have a multicultural team.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. That's the thing. I'm in the firm belief of, hey, if you like the look of a game, play the game. If you don't like the look of the game, don't play the game.
Yeah. I mean,
simple as that.
I guess Ubisoft are just as happy if you're playing it and loving it, or playing it and raging about it. As long as you're playing it, they don't care too much.
And I mean, this is where I go back to the age of grifting as well. I do know there's a whole point to rage baiting. You put a thing, you either make a mistake purposely in a video so people will comment and say you made a mistake, or you make a ridiculously angry position or a ridiculously good position against something that is bad. And you do it so people will dislike, comment, more engagement. You go up in the rankings, you get more monetization sorted out. And I do understand there's an art to rage baiting. I can see right through it, and it really annoys me.
Fair enough.
Anyway, sorry, I've taken up way too much time.
No, that's
okay.
Shadows, that's our main game for today, so that makes sense.
Yes. And speaking of games, you've been playing, speaking of games as a video games podcast, you've been playing Mullet Madjack, which I believe this is on this is on Game Pass right now?
Yes, and I'm a little bit late to the party. It came out, I think, a couple of weeks ago now. And I may have spoken about it last week if I was on the podcast, but I didn't actually play it until this week, so I wouldn't have been able to possibly. I did play a bit of Avowed in between, and I've been continuing to enjoy that. But Mullet Madjack is very silly. You accused me of making the game up because you hadn't heard of it, even though it is on Game Pass. So I think a lot of people may have glossed over it with just the slightly bigger games coming out in the last couple of weeks as well. So I wanted to highlight it because I think it's fun, and I think it will appeal, especially to people of between our age groups, Coleman, in our age group, generally. It is a bit of a mix, as if Doom and Akira had an late 80s, early 90s love child. And it came out as a roguelike shooting or first-person shooter generally, but with a bit of hack and slashing as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, very quick. Basically, the whole premise is that you generally have 10 seconds to live, and you get time bonuses for killing other people in the environment, and especially you can get pick up bonuses and stuff that enhance how many bonuses you get based on how you kill things. So environmental kills will generally give you a bonus, but you can also pick up a bonus at the end of the floor, and I'll explain that in a second, that kind of enhances how much time bonus you get for environmental kills or killing someone with a sword or various different things. And in those upgrades, you can also pick up different weaponry, and then you can pick up other kind of bonuses like explosive ammo and stuff like that. Each floor, and it's kind of, the premise is generally initially you think you're fighting across 10 floors.
Right.
That then gets extended by another 10 floors, and I'm not sure how many times that kind of extension goes on. But basically, you're fighting across 10 floors until you hit a boss. And when you hit the boss and defeat the boss, you get a permanent upgrade that happens. But generally, every time you die, you go back to the beginning of those 10 floors. And then got to fight your way through the boss. And each floor takes initially about a minute, just over a minute normally. And then you get to the point where you've unlocked some upgrades. And especially if you're unlocking, I particularly like the swords early on as well. You get an ice katana and a fire katana, and they help rip through things. And you are very quickly moving through these floors. And as I said, they start to take a minute. By the time you've unlocked a few upgrades and you're going through stuff and you've learned the layout of the levels a bit, you can get that down to about 20 seconds. So each level is not very fast, basically. Not very long, rather. And when you are, especially when you're going through in 20 seconds or so, you need to know the layout of the floors. You need to have like memorized where the kind of some of the pickups are. And there is a kind of like, it's not always the same every time you go through it, but there are kind of familiar layouts and familiar sections of each level that you'll get to know and get to like work out how things are. And
is it procedurally generated, you might say?
Yes, it's not entirely randomly generated, but it is like kind of sections stuck together. You get kind of used to them. And even when you transition from one floor to another, there's some similarities, even though they'll add more. Like the second set of 10 floors adds like acid that you have to avoid. There's like pools and things of acid that you have to jump over and stuff like that. But then one of the upgrades will be you can unlock a thing that means that the acid doesn't affect you and stuff like that. So there's kind of pros and cons to going through in different upgrades and stuff that you can do. It's very fast paced. It's very frenetic. Like you will have to go through it a few times before you kind of work out the flow of the game. And it kind of says that the default setting is lenient. And then there's a setting above that goes, well, this is how the devs intended it to play. And I've been playing in the lenient setting. You know me, I'm a basic. I won't say the second word, so you don't have to edit it out. But I'm basic.
Basic
and
hits.
kind of go on there. But it does hint at the fact you should probably play it lenient at first, basically. And I do definitely advise that. It's something where, you need to kind of learn what the upgrades do. You need to learn the layout of the levels a little bit, and then you can start ripping through it at faster speed. But even then, it's like my biggest enemy now is not so much the enemies in the environment, it's the environment themselves. If I get stuck on something or like part of the geometry of the level, then that can ruin my whole run, basically. Like you can die and have to go back 6 floors because you got stuck in a corner and didn't have anyone to shoot in time to get you more time and stuff like that. So at first I was like, I don't know how much longer I'll play this. Like, this seems okay. And I like the aesthetic and I like the kind of manga type kind of, it does, like the car you're in does an Akira slide in the opening cutscene and stuff like that. Like it's very much knows what it's going for.
Slide.
It's got some nice cultural references that you'll all recognize. Like literally when you go into the store, the little person that's doing the voiceover stuff will do the "what are you buying" thing. And like there's some like very heavy nods to stuff like that as well, which most gamers will appreciate, I think, as well. I think it kind of lends itself to kind of quick play on a smaller screen, possibly. It might be a good one for Steam Deck. But it is available on Game Pass. I suggest trying it out there. At first, as I said, I didn't think I was going to stick with it for much longer, but then it was one of those things of, well, just one more go. Just another go. I got to the final boss. Not the final boss, but the boss of that floor. Okay, I got through that boss first time. Okay, so I'll see what the next set of floors are like. And it kind of, before you know it, you're like, oh, it's 2-3 hours later. Okay. I think it's a slightly acquired taste, and it is definitely something where I think you're going to have an affinity for the pop cultural references it's making and the things it's referencing. But I haven't played anything quite like it in terms of exactly what it does. It's very fast-paced, it's very frenetic, and I've really enjoyed it. So, yeah, I recommend checking it out, basically.
I will say, if you're listening to the audio version of this and don't see what we see, I pull footage online for different games that we play or trailers we talk about stuff. And when you told me Mullet Madjack, I was just thinking, okay, it's another one of these little games he's found on Game Pass to waste the time, not play Assassin's Creed like Chris. But I had a look at the footage. I was like, all right, yeah, I'm sold, and I've installed that straight away on the Xbox. But that looks cracking. That really does appeal to me. It kind of it reminds me of those anime style, like the video CD games you'd get on like a Sega CD. I'm trying to remember there was a car game that I used to play a lot, and all it was like Dragon's Lair, just match the buttons at the right time, hit the right buttons, sequence, that kind of thing. It reminds me of that, but kind of mixed with, first-person shooter, obviously, but like, I'm trying to remember the name of it. That Angerfoot something like
I was
Anger
going to
Foot, where
say,
you're
it's
just
got a touch of
running
the
through
Anger
the
Foot.
level and killing things. Yeah.
Also, kind of like, obviously not from the same perspective, but kind of the Hotline Miami kind of like, just like you will die very quickly, very often, then just go back to the beginning of the level and go, okay, I'll just try that run again, basically, kind of thing. And yeah, if you like those style of games, I think, and especially if you like if you've got an affinity for the cultural references, then the manga and stuff that it's referencing. And when I say manga, I mean like not general necessarily manga, but like early, like late 80s, early 90s manga. So I mentioned Akira, but also the kind of G-Police stuff and all that kind of, like the kind of Neo Tokyo kind of vibe and all that type of stuff. And and cyberpunky type stuff, pre-cyberpunk. Like it kind of references a lot of that stuff. And as I said, I really enjoyed it to the point where I was like, I thought I was going to just play this so I had something to talk about this week. And I'm like, oh, no, this might cut into my Atomfall time this week, which I should mention.
I was about to suggest that.
That's coming out on Game Pass this week. And Sarah, I think, was the first person that clued us in on that. And I was like, and so, I'm very, very much looking forward to that. And I thought this would just tide me over till then. And it's like, oh, no, I'm going to have to keep playing Mullet Madjack because you can get a quick game of it very quickly and get some progress and enjoyment out. So, yeah.
Yeah, I will probably play this for like an hour or two while I'm waiting for Atomfall to install because I don't think you have this problem, Tim. There's a function on the Xbox where you go, hey, these games are going to Xbox. I would like them installed day one. And I do it, and it doesn't install day one, and I don't know why. Happens every time. Happened with Indiana Jones, happened with Avowed, and those are the only two games I played on Game Pass. So
okay, mine says it's pre-installed. Whether it's lying to me, I'll report back. But I don't think I've had that problem previously. The one thing I find is if your hard drive's full, obviously it won't download to the right place, and you have to copy it across.
Space.
But
I always make sure.
I'm assuming that's not the amateur mistake that you would make, Coleman. So yeah.
No, not on my Xbox Series X that has more hard drive space than Yow. Yeah.
I have to keep on clearing stuff off to make space. So yeah.
Okay, let's do some news, and I'm going to sort of edit this on the fly because there's a lot to get through this week. Tim, there was a Nintendo Direct, and unfortunately for us, we didn't know it was didn't know it was happening. B, it happened. Didn't know until like a couple of hours before we were recording, and I had meetings and stuff, so I didn't get to catch all of it, but I caught some of it, and I kind of clipped through and went through some best of articles and things to look through. But is there anything in particular that you've got your eye on from the Nintendo Direct?
Right. I'll say straight off the top, there was some interesting game announcements. It did say that it was focusing on Nintendo Switch stuff, and there'll be Nintendo Switch stuff 2 coming up soon. So like they kind of front and centered that. I thought the main interesting stuff was actually non-game announcements, which I thought was quite interesting. So
are you calling Metroid Prime 4 Beyond a non-game?
Yeah, that's not a game. It's not a real thing. No, like that looked cool. I did like the look of that. If we're going games first, then my 2 highlights were Everybody's Golf Hot Shots, because Sony have let Everybody's Golf out the stable now, so it's going to everything else. And so that's coming to Nintendo Switch, so that's quite cool. That looked cool, and they added some new modes and stuff that looked interesting. And Marvel Cosmic Invasion looked intriguing as well. So I like the look of that.
It's funny because the Avengers arcade game, where they seemingly have taken the style from, is not very good, but they've put behind the studios that do really good arcade type video game things. This is from the guys who did TMNT Shredder's Revenge.
Yeah. So yes, definitely looking forward to that. With the Marvel characters, it's 4-player co-op, so that ticks some boxes. But then you also seem to have like on-the-fly tag team where you can like tag in and out between 2 different heroes as well. So that looked quite cool. I like the idea of that. That looks good.
Well, I mentioned it, and we should talk about it. So Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, they finally got some footage out there, and it looks fantastic. And I do not believe that is running on a native Nintendo Switch.
It didn't.
That has to be a Switch 2, or that has to be a dev kit or something, because that looked too good.
Too good.
Too smooth, too shiny. I just, it's like when people would emulate the Switch games and you just go like, hey, look how much better it looks if you emulate the game.
That's one of those things where I think they have to bring it out on... Well, it makes sense for them financially to bring it out on Switch. Are we referring to that as Switch 1 now, or just for clarity, or are we going to go with this Switch? This Switch?
Nintendo Switch, and then we'll see how it goes when the Switch 2 is here.
Switch 2. Switch
Electric
to what?
Boogaloo.
Right. Yeah.
Switch to cheaper car insurance, surely.
Metroid Prime
Or
4. I think they have to bring Metroid out on Switch, not just because it makes financial sense, but because they have to, because they promised to, basically. But this is definitely like, I think
this is like Breath of the Wild all over again.
Exactly the same as Zelda. Like, this is going to be a cross-generational title where we get it on Switch, but we get a slightly better looking version on Switch too. So it helps sell Switch 2 to people as well. Like, it just makes too much sense not to do that, no?
It's definitely going to take from the Switch 2 announcement where they go through their launch games and they go, by the way, we showed a lot of this stuff off like 2 weeks ago, a week ago. So, but yes, it looks cracking. That's coming out some point in 2025. They're sticking with 2025. They're just not giving us an exact date because you know it's going to be Switch 2 day one.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't a launch title on Switch 2 and came out 2-3 months afterwards, but it depends when Switch 2 comes out. We'll see that soon. So
we'll see. Also, just probably worth mentioning there's rumors that come from some pretty decent sources that the Switch 2 may be coming out very soon, like May,
maybe
like mid-May. We might see. That'd be very bold if you go, here's the new console, it's out in a month.
I think when they said that was the schedule for when the next bit of information was going, I think we all predicted when it would come out. And I think I said earlier, I can't remember exactly when I said, I thought maybe summer or before that even. So, yeah.
I thought October.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think October was the launch for the... Oh, no, was it the announcement? I can't remember. There was a reason for it.
Switch 1, I think they launched Finding Time of the Year, but I think they will literally get out well ahead of GTA 6 and want to get a big bump and then get another bump in time for Christmas, basically. So
keep forgetting about GTA. All right. Were there any other games that you liked the look of, old Timmy Tim?
Well, I would have thought you'd be talking about Platapon 1 and 2 replay.
Patapon?
I would,
but I've played them, and there's a spiritual successor coming soon to Game Pass of all things.
Fair enough. So I think that's part of the reason that they're bringing these out is to bring more hype for the spiritual successor as well, possibly. No,
I mean it's going to look great when it's on the Switch 2. You know, bigger screen than the PSP, looking all vibrant and colourful when you get Fever mode.
Shilling for Ed, he'll probably thank us if we mention Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remake, which did look nice, but not really my type of thing, to be honest, but looked good. I like the look of it. But then also, what was the other thing? Oh, yeah, Monument Valley 1, 2, and 3. They're games that I've never played, but like the look of, and I think would suit the Switch well. So that's another one I was interested in.
And Pokemon Legends Z2A, that is coming late 2025 to the Switch 2.
They're doing the alphabet wrong, Coleman.
I know. All right, let's talk about the features there now. So we'll go first with the virtual game cards. Nintendo have finally figured out the game sharing thing. Like Steam's been doing it. Some consoles do it unofficially. We had a workaround with the PlayStation, and we figured out a way of sharing our games and stuff.
Yeah,
and this seems to be so you can. If I watched the dedicated video to this, I'm still not fully sure if I have this right. But what I think this is, you buy a game.
Yes.
You can keep the game stored like it's a cartridge, and you can switch between the games. And then you can keep those games on separate consoles. You can always switch
between the games, Coleman. They don't make you just play one game.
I know.
That's not it's not a game and watch.
No. Is it a physical game and then you're keeping a digital copy of the physical game?
Right,
or is this a way of sharing the digital games?
It's a way of sharing digital games. It doesn't have anything to do with physical games. It's making them a bit more like
virtual physical
game.
cards.
Right. Okay. So you know how with a physical card, Coleman, you
How
can
does the
lend one
virtual
to me.
card
I would say the
taste
other
when
way
you
around,
lick
but
it?
it doesn't happen that much anymore. But you could lend me a game, right? And then I
Yes.
keep it for too many months and then have to give it back to you. Well, what if there was a time limit to that and you could lend it me for exactly 2 weeks and then it would magically come back to you?
All my prayers would be answered too.
Yeah. So that's literally how it works. Apart from the other thing to that is you can share things more openly with your Nintendo family members. So you might have to sign up for a Nintendo family membership again, Coleman.
Again?
Yeah, you and me might have to become a Nintendo family again. We're reunited, undivorcing our Nintendo lives. But yeah, you can share more openly with your Nintendo family, and you can also share a game cartridge between two systems. So if you own two systems and they're owned by the same person, and it's limited to two systems, you can share the game cartridges. So you can virtually unplug it from one machine and virtually plug it into another.
Yeah, I got that bit.
Which is quite cool.
I mean, it's a very Nintendo solution, as Dan loves to say. It's a Nintendo-ass solution to a very regular problem that people have already worked out. But I do like the idea of sharing the game, and it's weird. It's that Steam thing as well. You can share your entire Steam library with your friends.
Yeah,
and they'll go. I mean, technically, it's meant to be family, but your friends, and they'll go, "Oh, I'd love to play that Baldur's Gate 3, but I don't want to buy it. I know Tim's got a version of that. I'll play his version." And then when you log into Steam, it'll then go, "All right, stop. You stop playing his games. Stop it. He's playing now. He's the master. Get out, you pleb." Yes. With Nintendo, it's like you can lend your games out if they're digital and you can't play them, but they can play them. And then after 2 weeks, it comes back. I mean, it's a way around someone buying a copy of a game and sending out different. I don't know. I know there's workarounds, but it seems very weird.
I actually think it's a really good system. Like, there's nothing to stop you lending that game again, but it will automatically go back after 2 weeks, which isn't the worst thing in the world. Like, it'd be bad if someone took your game and ran away with it forever. So it encourages them to play it in 2 weeks. And then if you want it, you can just lend it to them again. They did say, and I didn't get an entirely good feel of exactly how, I think when you're sharing between two consoles, you need to have them do near field communication to exchange details for a one-time thing. But I don't know how it works if you're sharing games with other people, whether that still needed that near field.
No, I think they just have to be in your Nintendo family. Is the idea?
I think I think you can lend a game to anyone, even if they're not in your Nintendo family. That was my understanding anyway. Basically, yeah.
Damn you, Nintendo! You make it sound simple, but you overcomplicate it every time.
That's one thing I'm not 100% on, but yeah, it seemed to be. It was easier to share within your family, and I'm not entirely sure how they specified it was easier, but I think you can lend games to anyone as far as I was aware.
Gotcha.
But,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see as it comes.
Yeah, we'll see anyway. But I think it sounded like a cool system, and it'd be good to try it out, and it's definitely better than the status quo at the moment, basically.
Yeah. I mean, that's coming in April, so we'll see how that goes. The other big piece of news was the Nintendo Today app, which should be out now. It's a new app for your phone, and it has Nintendo news and comics and updates. And it's basically them going, all right, remember we had the official Nintendo magazine that we canned? It's on your phone now. Yeah. Yes, it's all right.
Fine. It's probably the only thing I thought about it is, Nintendo Today sounds a little bit cumbersome. It's a shame that they've already used up the name Nintendo Direct, because that would be a better name for it.
Why did they not just call it Nintendo Power? Just in service of the old. I know we didn't get them in. We didn't get them in the UK, did we? Nintendo Power. It's an American thing.
So. I don't remember it.
No, because they just did
glove, but not the power.
Yeah, just Nintendo Power, the app. There you go. I would have been up for that. But yes, in spirit, it is the return of the official Nintendo magazine, but in app form, which is cool because this week we also learned it's the return of Game Informer.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Game Informer? They're back,
not really,
but in POG form. Pog form, Tim.
Again, something we never really got in this country that Americans have been going mad about this week. But, hey.
Yeah, Game Informer, they were shut down by GameStop in August 2024, and then they've been resurrected by a surprising source, Gunzilla Games, the developers of Off the Grid, which is owned by Neil Blomkamp.
Oh.
The man who makes films that I like.
Yeah,
like
he makes good films.
District 9 and Elysium and Chappie, although Chappie was a bit of a miss. But he makes games.
Elysium wasn't great, but it was good.
I liked Elysium.
I liked Elysium, but a lot of the world didn't. It wasn't as good as District 9. But anyway.
Chappie had a Hugh Jackman being super Australian, like wearing dungarees and having a mullet. So that was pretty cool. I liked that.
I mean, what's not to like? Mullet Madjack.
The robot rapped. We love that.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, if you're able to check out, I don't know if it's going to go worldwide or if it's just for the US, but we'll see how that goes. But they've they've brought back all the original editorial team apparently, and they've been given complete creative control over the direction. So all good news.
You're talking of robots just reminded me about something about Mullet Madjack, which I kind of liked but didn't make any sense. But I'm just going to mention it anyway. That everyone you're killing in there are robo-billionaires.
Yes, robo-musks.
I don't entirely...
And you're doing
it,
it,
said, didn't
and
make
you're doing
it
to appease an AI that stole
like
your girl.
Yeah, it was cool. But yeah.
It's so 80s and weird.
Yeah.
I love it.
And
anything that's 80s, I love. Okay. Yes, if you can enjoy Game Informer, then it's been resurrected, and you should hear more about that soon.
Do we know if it's going to be something that is available outside of the United States?
No idea. That's what I just said.
Okay,
but I think you got. I think you got Mullet Madjack in your head. As I was saying.
Yeah, I was thinking of Mullet Madjack. So it's in my mind. Mind Jack.
Just to touch on, I don't want to focus on this too much. It's not that big. It could be gaming based, depending on your view. But so there's a shrine in Japan, Watazumi Shrine. And they've recently announced they've banned all tourists. Anyone from outside of Japan cannot go and view this shrine anymore.
Fair enough.
The reason for this, so this has been in the news previously because of video games, and that was because they featured it in the Ghost of Tsushima, which apparently I don't think they had permission to do.
Okay.
That shrine was then damaged during a typhoon, which they then crowdfunded a campaign to repair the shrine. Which apparently was then popularized because everyone went, hey, you know that shrine from Ghost of Tsushima? It's been damaged, you can fix it. Here's how. So they did really well with their crowdfunding. It's now been damaged again. We don't know what extent the damage is, why the damage, anything like that, but the vandalism has been described as grave and unforgivable.
Oh.
So this came about before, like 2 weeks ago, the Prime Minister of Japan was asked about Assassin's Creed Shadow featuring real-life shrines in their video games, and you could damage them, which Ubisoft then patched out like day one. Stop the ability to
Why
damage.
Why would they let you damage shrines? That's weird.
I don't know. You can still gallop horses through them, though. So, easy come, easy go. And this... So the video gamers have been kind of getting the blame for this one. It's like, well, clearly because a video game popularized this shrine, video gamers are coming over and wrecking the shrine through, photo opportunities and what have you, which I can believe. But at the same time,
there's reference for shrines in Ghost of Tsushima, so that doesn't make any sense at all. So anyway.
Very odd. But I just want to point and say, has anyone checked what Logan Paul's been up to? Because he's, who knows?
Is he the wrestling one or the other one?
He's the wrestling one. He's the Suicide Forest one.
Yes.
I'm not going to say that word on YouTube, but yeah.
Okay. Bleep that out.
Unalived Forest. I think that's how the kids get around.
He was the one that disrespected that. That's why you made the reference, yes. But I just couldn't remember which one of the ones it was that was disrespectful in Japan. Because they're both disrespectful assholes. So, you have to bleep that out as well. So, sorry.
Nah, it'd be fine. I'll leave it all in now.
Okay.
I've just lost the plot. Just stop censoring things.
Oh. Yeah.
It's a new age. Game Informer's back. Trump's in power. Logan Paul's smashing up shrines. The world's gone chaos, baby.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, don't smash up landmarks. But I do see the point. Like they have a big problem with people that are using the shrines for tourism, for photo ops, for all these kind of things, and like it's not their religion, it's not their culture. Why are they there? You could argue, like, why do people go to the Vatican and take photos? Because the Vatican makes a lot of money out of that.
Guilty as charged. I've been there, climbed up. Yeah, whatever.
Like an assassin. Stabbed
I didn't climb up at the outside of the building and kill the Pope. Okay, like I didn't do that. Wasn't that disrespectful, Coleman?
Stabbed the Pope. Definitely getting flagged. But yes, no, I'm a filthy Protestant, and I've been in the Vatican for tourism reasons. Lovely building.
Yeah. I also walked around the whole of the Vatican because
it's
not very often you can walk around half an hour. Entirety of a country. Yeah,
it's cool. Love that.
Yeah.
Alrighty, what have we got left? All right, these are some pretty quick ones to get through.
Nothing.
If you're excited for The Witcher 4, and I know a lot of you are. Don't be expecting it too soon, because in the most CD Projekt kind of way, the same way they did with Cyberpunk 2077, they announced the game way too early, and they said that this isn't actually going to arrive until 2027 at the earliest. So expect 2028, 2029, which is now getting a lot of people saying, hey, this is going to come out on the PlayStation 6 or the whatever the next Xbox is, and the Series Z. And then they'll release a worse version first on current day consoles, and then have to pay. Basically, we're doing a Cyberpunk again. So yes, if you're excited for The Witcher 4, you're going to have to wait quite a while. Although I think there's a side story that they've been talking about in production. We'll see what happens with that.
Well, they've ruined the TV series now by ejecting the main star. So I'm less interested.
I think he left on his own accord.
I think they cited differences between them and the production team and stuff. But
are you telling me you're not excited for Liam Hemsworth as The Witcher? Geralt of Riviera.
I mean, I don't dislike Hemsworth but I'm not particularly excited by
it's not the best one.
The face of the main star in a series that had already run downhill because they went weird with the whole story thing in the last series. So hey.
Liam's Hemsworth, I don't know if your phone does this. I've got that thing where if you swipe to the left, it will just pull up some random headlines.
Have you been swiping left on Liam Hemsworth? Is that what you're saying?
No, on my home screen, it will pull up a bunch of headlines that it thinks you'll be interested in. It's usually video games or wrestling related for me.
Right.
And it went Hemsworth cast in The Witcher. I was like, wow, that's awesome. Oh, it's Liam. Happens a lot.
Disrespecting the Liam.
I mean, yeah, anyway. So, what else we got? Oh, to follow on from last week as well. Was it last week? Yeah, last week. We were talking about Hollow Knight Silksong. There's been some hype about that because Xbox were talking. Xbox
went, games that aren't happening. Metroid Prime isn't a real thing. Hollow Knight isn't a real thing. Silksong, no.
Well, Hollow Knight Silksong was mentioned briefly in a Xbox Wire article. Idea Xbox were doing a thing, and they just happened to mention that Silksong will be coming to Xbox at some point, and everyone went insane. And it didn't really give any reason for, and there was a lot of people expecting Silksong at the Nintendo Direct. A lot of people are expecting it in the Nintendo Switch 2 Nintendo Direct. Don't get your hopes up. More excitement this week because Steam, its metadata has been updated for the page for Hollow Knight Silksong behind the scenes. There's a website called SteamDB, Steam Database, and they publish any changes made to Steam on the back end. Scrapes through the code and shows things up. And they've changed the sequel. What has been changed now? Sorry, I'm trying to find the changes here. They've put the coming soon to. I can't find it now. Wow, I had this all written down and I think I accidentally erased it. Oh, there we go. Sorry, they changed the copyright to 2025. There you go. Get excited.
It's
definitely coming out.
It's vaporware.
Sorry?
It's vaporware.
It's coming.
It doesn't exist.
It's coming. It'll come this year.
It's not
when did they announce it? I want to say like 1,000 years ago.
1984.
No, because I originally I was pulling trailers and things. Oh, that's it. I was pulling things to use in the shorts, and I needed some Silksong footage. And it presented me with two trailers, one from 2 years ago and one from 5 years ago. I'm like, have we really been waiting 5 years for Silksong? I mean, it's strong to phrase because I'm not that interested.
Or you.
I'm not. I didn't like
You
Hollow
and
Knight
Dan.
that much. Didn't like it. Dan likes Hollow Knight.
Dan
Not
likes
for me.
it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The other one, we spoke about this a little while ago when there was the announcement of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4 coming to Game Pass.
That's 7.
And I
by the
mentioned
way. It's Tony Hawk
sorry.
7. 3+4 is 7.
Do you know what? There was 5, and then there was the remake, 1 and 2. So technically,
Yeah.
could be.
Are you mugging off Thugs though? Was it Thugs?
Underground 1 and 2. That's a different side series, Tim.
It
anyway.
still says Tony Hawk's.
So the reason that came up in we were talking about that last time is because A, it's coming to Game Pass, but B, they announced, well, they didn't announce, but they said in the track listing there would be CKY, Bam Margera's brother, whose name I always forget, part of that band legendarily. But Bam Margera would not be in the game, who's been having some problems of recent with substance abuse and alcohol and being kicked out of the last Jackass movie lineup and things with his ex-wife. Lots of problems for old Bam. So
Been
apparently
kicked in the
after
nuts
that,
a few too many times as well, probably, or in
well,
the head.
after the news that Bam Margera wouldn't be put in the game's roster, apparently Tony Hawk intervened himself and went, "Hey, Activision, you got to stick Bam Margera in the game," and now he's going to be in the game.
Good, I guess. Maybe. Do you care?
I mean, kinda. But are they doing that thing where I think in I think in 1+2 they went, okay, here's all your original guys, but like the modern day version of those guys. So older Tony Hawk, older Rodney Mullen, those kind of guys, and then the newer skaters put in there, and they seem to be doing that this way. They've got a younger roster. I'm wondering if they are going to put like bloated Bam Margera with the face tattoos and
the only
struggling
two
to
people
stand up straight on his skateboard.
Yeah, the only two people I've ever cared being about in a Tony Hawk's game are Tony Hawk's and Spider-Man. That's it. That's the only two I care about.
Darth Maul.
Oh, yeah, he was quite good as well, actually. I'll give
Shrek. Gene Simmons.
I don't care about him. No.
He was
Darth
in
Maul
Thug
was good.
1, I think. Yeah. I cared about Bam Margera when Thug 2 was out. Like, Jackass was at an all-time high. Viva La Bam was, like, big, and I thought it was a funny game. I'd probably cringe the holy hell out of it now.
Yeah.
But
You fan of getting kicked in the nuts by a clown?
I liked that.
Or a
I
midget?
liked those games. Or I liked those games. I haven't played them for a long time.
Okay.
Anyway. And lastly, in the news, Vampire, The Masquerade, Bloodlines 2 has been delayed again.
Vaporware, common vaporware. It's disappeared into the shadows.
Chinese Room has pushed it back to October 2025, but they have said that the game is done. They're now just focusing on bug fixes, stability, performance improvements. They're doing a Ubisoft. They've got to make sure. There's a lot of hype that's gone into this game over the years.
Yeah.
They've got to make sure it's good.
Yes. Doesn't suck, Coleman, hey?
Yeah. Oh, vampires. I see.
Yeah.
What you did there,
Yes.
I see it.
Good. Glad it didn't go to waste.
That's all the news. That was a lot of news. I told you there'd be a lot of news. I didn't lie. I never lie. Unless it's entertaining. Yeah. So we should probably wrap up, and we've got a few things to get through. And first of all, we've got to say, I've lost my banners. There they are. We've got to say, you should head over to tpublic.com/store/BRB. Over there, we have our fine merch for Big Red Barrel. We've got merch for the website, for the podcast. We've got merch of different varieties, cool looking t-shirts, emblazoned with Sonic the Hedgehog or Zangief or other things. Is your Elden Ring one still there?
Why does your mind always go to the ones that we didn't make?
Because they're my favorite ones.
Okay.
Yeah, and I always like to leave the
indictment of our designs, Coleman, and your face, and my face, and more importantly, Dan's face.
Is the Elden Ring one still up with the Turtle Pope?
No, I took it down, and then someone bought it, and I don't know how they bought it after I took it down, and then I meant to put it back up, and I just haven't. I meant to put some new designs up as well, but
What if I
want to
just
buy
pulled
them
it up
myself
now?
before they get taken down, and I can't afford them at the moment, so I haven't done that yet. But one day I'll put some cool new designs up that Coleman will disregard in favor of other people's designs that we just happen to recommend in our store as well.
They're my favorite ones. Would it be great if I just pulled up the t-shirt and you're like, I don't know how they bought it. It's like, I have access. Yes, that is tpublic.com/store/BRB. As Dan loves to say, you can go there and buy a shirt with a picture of his face on it. But I like to say you should go over there and buy the really cool looking design for Tabletop Tuesday. And Tim's going to tell you about that Tabletop Tuesday right now.
I am indeed. Just before I go into next week's Tabletop Tuesday, I'd just like to thank, as Mateus was playing Double Super Mario for our video game special last week, but especially to Ashley and Mantic, who came along and demoed Halo Flashpoint, which was a cool little Halo miniatures game. Definitely check that out if you're interested. That seemed to go down well with Halo fans in particular, and a couple of people are planning on buying the game, having tried it out that evening as well. So that's always good to see. But thank you very much for coming along and showing us that, because it makes sense to show off video game board games at a board game event in a video game themed bar, which we do every Tuesday at the Loading Bar in Stoke, Newington. Each and every Tuesday, we have a different feature game. If you play that feature game that evening, you have a chance of winning a copy of the game at the end of the evening. This week's feature game is a little game called Mine Turtle. Not My Turtle, but Mine Turtle. Turtle.
I love Mine Turtle.
Mine on his back. Explosive turtle. Be careful. So yeah, hopefully it won't explode so that you can take a copy home. If you come out and try a copy of the game this Tuesday, there will be more details tomorrow. If you're listening to this live, I haven't put details up yet because I've been stupidly busy at work. But there will be more details on the right-hand side of bigredbarrel.com, or you can search for Tabletop Tuesdays on meetup.com and join the over 2,200 members we have there. Or you can just come along to the Loading Bar in Stoke, Newington on Tuesday, this here Tuesday coming, and you could win yourself a copy of Mine Turtle.
Big fan
Big
of
party
Mine
game.
Turtle.
Also, I should mention that it is our social games night, so there will be some social deduction stuff going on alongside that as well.
No, who
Again,
cares about
more
that? Mine
details on the
Turtle.
site.
Mine
Yeah,
Turtle.
Mine Turtle.
Turtle. Turtle with a mine on his back. Hello, Mine Turtle. Love that. But Tim, Tabletop Tuesday, that with such amazing things on offer at Tabletop Tuesdays in the Loading Bar in Stoke, Newington, surely that costs a lot of money to get in for entry.
It is absolutely free. You have to buy your drinks. It is a bar, so you should come along and buy drinks when you come to the bar. There's amazing how many people don't seem to get that concept, but it's a bar, buy drinks. Any bar you go into, buy drinks. Don't just use the facilities like the toilets and other things without buying drinks. That's rude. But it's generally free to get into, and the event itself does not cost you any money.
And if you are of the alcohol drinking variety, you get your free entry. Go get yourself a video game themed cocktail. There are many to choose from. Some really good ones.
Some video game themed food as well. The guy that came to demo Halo was quite pleased there was a Halo themed burger on the menu as well. So,
Did he, as he went to eat, was it too hot? And he went, oh dear. That means we've been recording too long. You should. If you've enjoyed this show, Lord help you. I mean, why wouldn't you enjoy this show? There's just so much to get through. But you can get more over at bigredbarrel.com. That's where we host this here website. That's where we host this here podcast, along with any of the other shows that are available, along with any of the other articles that are available, and also the links to our social medias and our Discord. You should go over to Discord. You can chat with us. You can ask us questions. You can beg me for random game codes because I keep forgetting to put them on Discord, and I have so many right now. I think I have like 30 games that I need to give away that I haven't done. And I'm really annoyed.
I would like Coleman.
I'll send you the list. And then, there was two that I was really excited for getting on Steam. And then I realized when I got them on my humble choice that they were for Origin. And then I got annoyed. And now I cancelled my humble choice because I'm petty like that. Just because I didn't read it properly.
Should always read, Coleman. Always read the terms and conditions, especially the list of things.
Visit our Discord. Links will be available in the show notes. They're available on bigredbarrel.com, or you can try and decipher the weird way that Dan likes to say it, which I believe is discord.com/invite/muntuhafwa. You can decipher that. Or I've written it on the screen if you're watching the show. But
better.
just look in the show notes. It's easy.
Yeah,
it's fine. Anyway, you can go there. You can ask us questions, much like these fine folks have, and we've got two. And you wouldn't believe it, Tim. You would not believe it.
I wouldn't.
We've had a comment. We've had a question. You wouldn't believe who's done it. It's Ed.
It's Ed. How rare.
He says he never comments. He never sends us questions. He says, "What kind of game?" This is a wrestling reference, Tim. You might not get it. What kind of a game did you really want to climb the ladder and make itself famous, but it just didn't quite get there? While you think about what that means, Tim, I'm going to say Bust a Groove. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I love Bust a Groove. If you don't know, it's like a fighting game, but you dance at each other, and whoever gets the top score wins. I love Bust a Groove. I'm a massive fan of it. It did not do that well in the UK. So much so that they made a sequel. They made it. It was released in Japan. It then came over to America. They did not feel a need to release it in the UK. So I never got to play it until years later when I emulated the game. And bought an American copy, I will say that. And so much so, I didn't even know this for years. There was a third game that had a different name that was released just in Japan for the PS2. I've never played it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some emulation on that one. Probably won't buy that game. What do you think, Tim? What game did you want to be popular but it didn't quite get there?
I mean, Star Wars Outlaws. It probably sold enough copies, but it didn't seem to be very popular with a lot of people that bought it.
I think that's got a Days Gone situation where now it's been, it's had all the patches and stuff, and now it's been heavily reduced in a lot of places. A lot of people are really liking that game.
Yeah. As I said, I think it's good. I really enjoyed it and want to go back to it to finish it off at some point. I don't know why. Like, I was trying to think of a game that fit the bill, and there's not quite. Like, I keep on going to buy Lumens on Steam Deck, just because I think it will be nice on there, and I like having a copy of that game on any portable platform that I own because I love that game so much. But I think that game did fairly well. I don't know if I'll ever get a sequel, although it kind of got a spiritual successor in Tetris. What was the name of the Tetris game
Lumens
that he made? I can't remember it. Anyway,
a spiritual successor in the Lumineers, the folksy band.
He was originally going to make a musical-based Tetris game, and that's where Lumens come from because he didn't get the license. And then eventually he did and made Tetris something. Anyway, but yeah, I don't think that particularly answers that question. I can't think of a
trying to work out if you just had a stroke or not.
Possibly. Okay. No, I have a good answer to this question. Enslaved Odyssey to the West.
Oh, good shout. Good shout.
Yeah.
And on that, also on the similar type of vein, Heavenly Sword. I thought that should have been bigger than it was. But I think that was a limitation of people not buying the PlayStation 3 on launch.
Yes, that didn't help. It was also, it had weird controls with the weird floaty pad at the time as well. But yeah.
Odyssey Journey to the West, if you do not know, it was a retelling of Journey to the West, which some may know as loosely Monkey or Dragon Ball. Really, really cool game done in a future dystopian setting where the Earth is different and grown over by nature. And hold on, it's called Horizon Zero Dawn. But you had an Andy Serkis version of Monkey. I remember that.
Also, El Shaddai Ascension of the Metronome. That was an undervalued game. Pretty good.
Also, Star Wars Masters of Terra. I couldn't even do it for straight.
I thought that game the other day. I would love to be able to play Masters of Terrakazi on a modern system. I don't think it'll ever happen.
I think
due to licensing things, but
I'm sure that's been in the weird ports thing. I'll look into this.
I've kept an eye out for it and I haven't seen anywhere. If that is available to play legally anywhere, let me know. But
don't quote me on this. But do you remember when they did the PS4 special Star Wars edition thing? And then they just included a load of digital games and they weren't available on the marketplace, most of them. I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure
think I was one of them.
Master Terrace
Otherwise,
Kazi
I
was
would
one of
have.
them.
You
would have bought a PlayStation for it.
Yes.
I would like a highly polished version of, like, a modern day retelling of Masters of Terrace Kazi, but done by like Bandai Namco, Namco Bandai, wherever they are.
Namco Bandai.
Just put the Tekken team on a Star Wars game. I'd be all over that.
Oh, there's a Tekken board game that's just been announced recently as well, but
actually, Soul Calibur team.
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure they're separate teams. Soul Calibur, because they've got more. They've got more experience with the weapons in combat. Tekken's just got Yoshimitsu.
Yoshimitsu.
So Soul Calibur. I'm having a moment.
Distracted by looking at Masters of Terrakazi now. PS5
That's fine.
remastered, it's a thing.
One more question, Tim. One
Yeah.
more question. Okay. Richard Kirk. He's got a good one.
Richard
I like this.
Kirklebon.
In the flavor of last week where we were talking about WWE 2K25, he says, I have a question. So he did it right. Which non-wrestler video game character should be in the next... Try that again. Which non-wrestler video game character should be in the next WWE game? And which wrestler should be appearing as a character in non-wrestling games? Would the next Dark Souls game be improved by The Undertaker?
Darth Maul.
Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong
which
in a WWE
video
game.
game character in it or non-wrestling video game character. Okay.
Because we've been asked this before, and we always go Mike Hager.
Well, yeah, it kind of makes sense.
And he is a wrestler, and he started in a wrestling game before Final Fight.
Also, Zangief
is also a wrestler. Non-wrestling games characters.
But he's not a
Non-wrestling
wrestling
characters.
video game character.
No, but he's a wrestler.
He's a
video
wrestler.
game character. Non-wrestler video game
Okay.
characters in a WWE game.
Right. Mario.
That gross new Pac-Man that was on the Amazon Prime show.
I still haven't watched that one, but yeah. I know what you mean because I've seen it.
I was like, what a cool
game
take on
footage thing.
Pac-Man. And then like 2 days later, they announced the actual game to it. I went, oh, I thought that was just for the show. That was a really cool idea. I'm sticking with Donkey Kong. Big bruiser, Donkey Kong. That's what
that is a good answer.
Yeah.
Like, he would wrestle people well.
He mashed Mario up in that Mario Brothers movie when he was Seth Rogen. Can even do the Seth Rogen version. And wrestlers in non-wrestling games. It's hard to say. Stone Cold Steve Austin in any Hello Kitty game.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say like the Katamari games, but
I'm fixing to push me a ball and roll the ball up. You get 360. Stone Cold 316 says if you get in my way, I'm gonna roll you up in my Katamari and put you in the sky to make a new star to appease my father. Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah. Stone Cold Katamari. I like that. Now you can't use Katamari as an example. You ruined it.
okay. But do I have to?
Yeah, you got a wrestler in a video game.
Also, would the next Dark Souls be improved by The Undertaker? I'm going to say no.
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to say difference, Tim.
Just being
I got
a
one.
contrarian.
Hulk Hogan in Red Dead Redemption 2, specifically that part where you can go kill the Ku Klux Klan. So when he starts saying like the really horrible stuff he was saying that time before, just take it out on him. You shot me in the head, brother. Something like that. All right, that's all the questions. Tim is so distracted looking for Masters of Terraskazi.
Yeah.
It's gone. We've just lost him. Next week's show, we'll be talking about Atomfall, I'm sure, if Tim can break himself away from Mullet Madjack, and if I can tear myself away from Mullet Madjack. We're going to be playing some Atomfall for next week. No, Dan, he is still moving out of Slough.
It takes a long time to get free of the gravitational pull of Slough.
Going to say, why would he ever leave, Tim? He found the motorway.
It's like in Interstellar, like 1 year for us is like 5 years trying to escape from Slough. That's...
He's watching old videos of the podcast crying as we're rapidly aging and dying. I mean, if you watched all the videos, it would kind of feel like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all we got time for this week. So let's
Masters of
say
Terrakazi was 1997. This is what I found out so far. I haven't found if you can play it anywhere in modern setting. But it was in 1997, which makes me feel old, Coleman. And IGN gave it a 4 out of 10. 4.
Yeah.
I remember it being bad, but not that bad.
Masters of Terrakazi. Good. Okay, so this has been episode 630 of BRB UK, and for this week I will say that I have been Coleman.
I might have been Tim. It's possible.
And I have been the Master of Terrakazi. Until next time, dear viewers, dear listeners, thank you for listening, thank you for watching. We'll catch you next week. A goodbye. I've lost the outro music. There it is.
Are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarrel.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarrel.com.
Are there? But is that? Can you do alternate universe things where a match may have gone another way and explore what would have happened? Because I would love there to be an opportunity to shave Donald Trump's head from WrestleMania 23.
They will never do that.
The other way.